Yo, what's up guys, I'm Yanick from the Producer School, and in this brand new series we will be creating a future bass track from start to finish. In this first episode we'll start with the breakdown and the main idea of the track, and then further on we will make a drop, another breakdown, finishing the track, mixing and mastering it, and you guys can follow along and see the whole project how it goes. Now let's go into FL Studio and start working on the track. I asked a friend of mine to record a guitar with some nice chords, and he did a really good job on that. The guitar sounds like this. This sounds super dope. I think he played the guitar really well. We still have to mix it though. There's also another guitar which is more for further on in the breakdown with a nice melody. It kind of reminds me of the tracks by San Holo, and we're gonna use this guitar for sure. Then I found this vocal on Splice which sounds like this.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
It sounds pretty dry and dull right now, but we're gonna fix that with some delay and reverb later on. There's also this vocal, which sounds really weird. It's basically this part but then reversed. And we're also gonna put a lot of reverb on this to make it more in the background of the track. But we'll do that later. Let's start off by creating this first intro-ish part of the breakdown. The breakdown won't be that long, it's just gonna be 16 bars as it is right now. And after that we'll make the build-up and the drop. For this first part with the guitar and the vocal, I think I wanna add like a pad underneath this. So let's find a nice preset in Serum. I found this really nice warm pad sound in Serum from our Kinetic sound bank. And this one is playing the same chords as the guitar, which sounds like this. And it will be just there underneath the guitar to fill up some space in the track. So let's put it on there like this.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
I rented out the pad because it uses a lot of my CPU, and I don't want the project to crash, which happens a lot with FL Studio, as you guys probably know. So this is the rendered out pad. And with the chords. I put some auto-tune on the guitar because it was a little bit off key, but that's now fixed with this auto-tune plugin. Then there's this guitar rig on there, which is a really dope plugin by Native Instruments. Without it, it sounds like this. And with it, it sounds like this. It has this ensemble on it, which makes it a little bit wider and gives it a dope effect. Let's EQ this. I'm not going to do crazy stuff for the EQ, just some low cut. And let's remove a lot of the high end. Like that. Now let's put some reverb on it. And let's also put a compressor on it. I almost forgot that. I'm using the Glue. I really like this plugin. It's also available in Ableton, but then just a Ableton plugin. Now let's put some reverb and delay on the vocal. I'm gonna put this in another mixer track. You can do this with Ctrl L. It's a nice shortcut for that. Let's EQ out a little bit of the low end.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad.
And it's a little bit too sharp.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get. Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get. Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before it gets bad.
The good thing about the vocals from Splice like this one is that they are already pretty well mixed. There's already compression on there, and you only have to tweak a little bit of the EQ and put some delay and reverb on it, which I'm going to do right now. Let's load in a Fruity Delay 2. Let's set it to ping pong mode to spread in the sound a bit, and let's set the time to 4, which is pretty basic.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad.
And now let's add some reverb. I'm going for a pretty big size like this.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
That sounds good. And always make sure to low cut your reverb, because low frequencies and reverb don't go well with each other. So make sure you put some low cut on the reverb. And now there's this weird reverse vocal as well over here. And I'm going to do some crazy things with it. Let's put it in a mixer track. The first thing I'm going to do is to open up a Fruity EQ2 and select the preset radio, which gives this really nice radio sound. And I use this one a lot when I'm working with like background vocals and vocal swells like this. Now let's put up a reverb. And you want a really big size, some pretty long decay, around 6 seconds or something. And the only thing you have to do now is to lower down the dry slider, so it really will be in the background of the mix. Like that, and then you don't even hear that it's really crazy, a reverse vocal like this. Now it sounds more like a vocal chop or something, which is a lot better than this weird reverse vocal. And when you play everything together, that sounds like this.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad.
Let's lower down the volume of this reverse vocal a little bit. Maybe some more decay to make it longer. And what we can do as well is switch this reverb with the EQ. So the reverb will also be EQ'd with this radio preset. So let's change this up so we get a different sound.
Before you say something you can't take back.
This already really gives me like Illenium and San Holo vibes, and it will be even better when we start working on the second part. Now let's add some ambience effects, like some nature sounds, or this kind of final sound. This one. This gives it a really crispy sound. Just make sure you don't put it too loud, otherwise it will be really annoying for the listeners. But just in the background, you can give it a nice vibe. Let's add another like ambient sound. Let me just search for it. This one is a rain sound actually, which sounds like this. I think I'm gonna EQ the low end, just remove it with this EQ. Like that, and then just lower down the volume. And these sounds are just to fill up a little bit space in the tracks and not to be that present, and they also give it like a nice vibe. Now let's add another more like vocalish kind of ambience from our Garrick sample pack.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad.
I think we have to put this a little bit lower in volume.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
Alright, that sounds pretty dope already for the more like intro part of the breakdown. Let's copy this ambience effects to the second part of the breakdown. And let's start working on it. We have this guitar coming in. Really nice clean guitar. But let's also introduce some more elements. Let's maybe add a string or something. I want to go for a really atmospheric or orchestral breakdown like Yanick does. So I loaded in these strings in Contact, and let's put the chords in there as well. They sound pretty realistic, and these are just some strings from the Contact factory library. Let's put them in a new mixer channel and mix them. Let's cut out some of the low frequencies. That's actually already enough. Now let's put some reverb on it, like a really big one. And I'm also going to put these strings really far to the sides of the speakers. And you can do that with this stereo enhancer by Fruit Loops itself. And it has this preset called for strings, which I use a lot for like strings like these or violins. Let's put them underneath this second part.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad.
I'm trying to find the right volume for this strings, so let's find out what it should be.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
I think that should be good. Let's also introduce a piano. Let's copy these chords and put it in this piano. This piano is really dope. It's the Grandeur. It's made by Native Instruments. And it sounds like this with the chords. And let's copy these bass notes and put them an octave lower as well. Let's put this piano in another mixer channel with Ctrl L. Let's cut out a little bit of the low frequencies. And let's boost a little bit of the high mids. I don't think it needs reverb, it already sounds pretty good. Let's add it underneath there.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
Another thing I want to add is this Contact guitar. It doesn't sound too realistic, but I'm just going to use this as an ARP in the background of the track. There's a guitar rig on it with this preset called Bust Michael Clean. And let's find the right notes for a good ARP. This one should be fine. Let's go for like a really standard ARP. Let's mute all this. Make it longer so it doesn't sound too choppy. Maybe put up this note. That sounds pretty good. So this will be the guitar pattern. Let's put it into another pattern because right now it's just with the piano and it needs to have its own pattern. So right now like this. Maybe let's put some reverb on it. And lower down this dry knob for more in the background. Like this. Let's see how it sounds together with the different elements from the track.
Before it gets bad,
Let's boost the volume a little bit of this guitar with the channel rack.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
Now let's start with this guitar we still have with this really nice melody. For this guitar I used the same preset as the one I showed you before. Now let's EQ this with an EQ2. Let's put a little bit of delay on it. And some reverb to give it a little bit more room.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
For some reason my microphone didn't record a lot of things, so I will just show you the things that I did in the meantime, and that is adding this bass. Which is a really low reese bass, which covers all of the low end for this track. Then there's this stomp kick. And some snares with a lot of reverb. Also 2 taiko drum loops I found on Splice, which sound really dope. There's also a lot of reverb on this to make it a big atmospheric sound. Then I added this impact and down filter sound. And also this transition from our Garrix pack, which helps with the transition between the 2 parts of the breakdown. Like that, and at the beginning there's also a impact. That was basically it for this breakdown. I can still change things up in the arrangement or sounds or whatever. So if I need to change some things, please let me know in the comments and I can work on that in the next episode. For now I'll play you the end result. And we're gonna work on this even more next time.
Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back. Before it gets bad, gets worse, we get mad. Before you say something you can't take back.
So that was it for this breakdown. If you like this video, then make sure to drop a like down there. And also leave a comment what you think of this series. For now, I want to thank you guys for watching and I will see you in the next episode.